Before, this dude was the most kid-friendly, unbeatable, unstoppable force imaginable. He was simply a thug from the streets of Newbury, Mass. Yes, the John Cena we all know today, the guy who wears all these bright colors, does all these good deeds, and is the ultimate company man, used to come out and wanted to slap Stephanie's ass as hard as he could. Before Cena became a rapper, this man's gimmick was just coming out to the colors of the sports team of the city he was performing in and just hoping that he'd get a reaction. By the end of 2002, it wasn't working and he was about to get his release, until Stephanie heard him freestyling in the back of the bus, and after that, it was history. It was only fitting that this gimmick made its debut and Stephanie was in one of the first segments with Cena. This man came out telling us that he had a degree in Thuganomics. What is that, you ask? Well, it's a degree of being a thug.
It's clearly a Grand Theft Auto created character.
Cena started coming out in long jorts, corduroy pants, and retro jerseys, and it was a feud with Rikishi where he dropped the ugly ass pants and generic wrestler gimmick. He changed his theme song and it was a lot more catchy than the initial one, and then he started coming out in the bucket hat, telling us that it was 2003 Y2JC. He was rapping about illegal immigration. He was telling the Mexicans to go back to working at Home Depot. He said that he was ready to auction off all the Mexicans. Bro, what? You cannot say that. This man just came out every week and he just spat out nonsense, and somehow it made sense. People slowly started to gravitate towards him. Granted, early on they hated his guts, but the dude had a lot of balls saying what he was saying. And then he started challenging the best on SmackDown. Guys like Undertaker, Kurt Angle. He fought Brock and he changed his finisher's name to the FU. The dude just oozed charisma and he had an unmatched authenticity to him. Why did people think he was so cool? Well, this dude gave zero fucks. The thing that people thought was so cool about him was he said naughty words. He made dick jokes, ball jokes, racist jokes, hoe jokes, Viagra jokes, and more dick jokes. It was a play on rap culture at the time. It's like once 8 Mile came out, everyone wanted to be a wanksta. This was when trash talking and being an outlaw was trendy, and rap battles were really in. He came out, told Funaki about his camel toe, and where the audience participation came in was he would always finish up his rap with some word that you couldn't say on TV, and the audience would just scream it at the top of their lungs. But this version of Cena was fucked in the head. This man was disturbing as much shit as he possibly could. He was pissing on tombstones, calling himself the White Muhammad Ali, calling arenas crack houses, destroying Eddie Guerrero's car because he hated Mexicans, fighting one-legged wrestlers, and then making a joke about how they'd be the perfect partner in a three-legged race. He was talking about how he's got more hits on the mic than free porn on websites. The amount of shit this man said would have gotten him cancelled today. Karens would have been on their blogs crying about how inappropriate he was. But his rap battles, or battle raps as WWE used to call them. I mean, how could you not like this dude? He would blow everyone out of the water with his words. I mean, every time Kurt and Cena got into the ring together, it was magic. Kurt coming out dressed as Cena, doing Cena's little brush off and the okay, barely being able to rhyme, mini Kurt popping out, stealing Cena's hat and trying to act like a thug. It was just money. Cena was wildin'. Guy came out and told the Big Show that he was the white fat Albert and he couldn't see his stick because he was so fat. Cena, man, why were you so damn mean? But it was late 2003 where this man truly started to win everyone over. That's when the You Can't See Me took off and everyone, including Tori Wilson, was waving their hands in front of their face. The You Can't See Me was iconic. We would go to school with our friends throwing up the W, and this man's popularity was skyrocketing. When he wasn't spitting bars of his own, he was making people eat bars of soap instead. By March of 2004, this man captured his first US title and his reactions were deafening. He wasn't really Thuganomics Cena anymore, he was simply Chaingang Cena. He went from one of the most hated white trash wannabe rappers to one of the most adored superstars on the roster. In his US title reign, he was fighting the most random people. He was fighting Rene Dupree, he was fighting Nunzio, Sakota, and oh look, it's Kenzo Suzuki. What does Cena say to Suzuki's manager Hiroku? Nothing. He just said that he wanted her in bed and he was gonna make her white face even whiter. Nothing wrong with that, right? From here, it was full flight with this guy. 3-on-1 handicap matches, best of 5 with Booker T. He was getting recognition from Method Man, and then he got stabbed at a nightclub. I wonder if Eminem was getting jealous, but it actually wasn't Eminem. It was Jesus. I mean, Jesus. I'm pretty sure that's not how grammar works. If we call Jesus Jesus and it's spelled like that, I'm pretty sure if you write out Jesus, it doesn't translate to Jesus. We've had Steiner math, now you get super kick spelling. Renegade Cena was in full flight. We all loved his no fucks given persona. He would come out throwing nuts in people's face. He was chucking them at Dupree's dog, just freaking going in on everyone. Debuting the Spinner US title, children, adults, teenagers, commentators, the entire Divas locker room, everyone was riding with John Cena. This man was a menace. We were no longer known as John Cena fans, we were simply the Chaingang. Throwing the W's in the air, every arena he went into, all you heard was chants of Cena, Cena, Cena. Girls were calling him hot, we were begging our parents to get the Omnizone pumps. Even though people called them the D Browns, for us, they were the John Cenas. Shout out 5-Star Rollins. By 2005, the company knew that they had to capitalize off his momentum. So he lost the US title and he won a tournament to face JBL at WrestleMania. This man was a full-on threat. He would come out with a steel pipe ready to rip JBL and his cabinet's head off. He was vandalizing cars, giving Teddy long FUs, puncturing holes in Bradshaw's tire, and getting arrested. Cena was running wild. And then he changed his theme song to The Time Is Now, which we all loved. The song was just a burst of energy straight to our veins. And then at Mania, he won the WWE title and he debuted the brand new Spinner WWE Championship. And wrestling purists were crying their eyes out. What? You can't do that. That's the WWE title. It's not a toy. It spins. No. This man was making waves and he had people crying. Was he a little racist? Yeah. Was he inappropriate? Yeah. Homophobic? A little bit. Were some of the things he said politically insensitive? No doubt. Did we still love him? Hell yeah. Everywhere you looked, you had Chaingang signs. You can't see me. People started to dress like him. Little kids like me getting citations for having a dirty mouth. Cena was simply the man. This man was a terrible influence, but he was just so damn cool. Was he the reason that I called my mom a hoe? Yeah, he was. Thank God it wasn't in Punjabi or Hindi, or my ass would have been in a shipping container straight to India. Was John Cena the reason I was always in the office? Yeah. The principal would literally walk in and he'd be like, alright, Mr. Cena, what'd you do now? It got to the point where I was just chilling in the office on a daily basis, and the principal was just like, okay, whatever. I can't do anything with this kid anymore. I'd be tugging down south while we were taking attendance, calling boys, yes boys, hoes, telling everyone that I was the only one allowed to cheer for Cena. I would get into full-on arguments with my friends about how only I could cheer for Cena. They were not allowed to. He was my favorite wrestler, not theirs. Overprotective? Just a little bit. I told you guys a citation story in a different video about me telling everyone I had a masterpiece smaller than the Nano iPod, but I recall this one time. So let me tell you guys a quick story about how Chaingang John Cena was causing chaos in my household. So on Fridays, my class used to go swimming, and there was this one girl that I guess I found attractive. So we're swimming, we're doing our thing, and I'm trying to get her attention. So I swing a pool noodle at her, and instead of hitting her shoulder, I hit her square in the face. And I guess she easily got nosebleeds. I remember it as clear as day. The chick walks out of the pool, goes to the teacher, and the next thing I see is just 3 people looking at me, death stare while the girl is pointing. And the teacher is just disgusted. She's like, "Aw shit, this guy again?" I get pulled out of the pool and the teacher's like, "Why did you do that?" I went full Cena mode. I was like, I got a huge ego and I just wanted to show the hoe what the doctor could do.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Bro, what are you doing? What are you the doctor of? I was 7 years old. And the look on the teacher's face was just, what? Her eyes were legitimately about to pop out of her face. Not getting the explanation the teacher wanted, she sat me out for the rest of the evening, and there I was, sitting next to the wall, smelling like chlorine, all drenched while everyone's playing basketball and going off the water slides. But it got worse. This was one of those situations where I thought, oh okay, it's not gonna be that bad. It's one of those things where the teacher talks to you and you don't hear about it again. No. My dad came to pick me up and we get home. Just as I get home, my mom is in the washroom and she yells out my name. And at that moment, I knew it was over. She had just talked to the teacher and she comes out of the bathroom in a rage. She's cursing me out in Punjabi, asking me, who is this girl? Kauna kudi? I'm like, oh shit, that wasn't me, man. I promise the teacher must be racist or she has the wrong student or something. I came up with every conceivable excuse to tell her that it wasn't me. And then my parents got annoyed at each other. My mom's like to my dad that, you're the reason he's doing this. He's 7 fucking years old and he's trying to go on dates. And my dad's like to my mom, no, you're the reason he's like this. None of them knew that they weren't the reason for this. The reason for this was John Cena. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know that my time is up. I'm probably getting sent to India or I'm getting the ass whooping of a lifetime. And if you're a brown kid getting in trouble for us is like getting thrown in jail. Only we know how badly we get in trouble when we goof up. I knew that I couldn't let anyone find out that this dude, John Cena, was the reason for all this chaos. My mom already thought that wrestling was real and didn't like me watching it. But I got a fucking bitch slap from my dad and my mom brought out the chappal. Did I do stupid stuff like that again? Hell yeah. But the A's on the report card made up for the F's in my brain. And that is how wacky John Cena was causing chaos without even knowing it. This man though had the Marine coming out. He was shooting music videos. It was 05. We got the world premiere for Bad Man with Bumpy Knuckles and that song was hard as hell. He had a concert in Boston. The album he released was actually spectacular. Like to this day, songs like If It All Ended Tomorrow, Just Another Day, and Make It Loud still rotate on my playlist. Like the day I attempt to have children, it'll be to the song Make It Loud. This was wild. It was a full-on tour. He was doing interviews on TSN, there were press releases, exclusive signings, video game commercials. This character just transcended the WWE and it went mainstream. Add to that the album went platinum and peaked at number 15 on the Billboard 100. The more you think about that, it's like, what the hell? This is a wrestler making all these waves? In retrospect, the cool thing is just how good he was at rapping. And his songs actually had some decent stories to them. WWE was just going in on the Cena character. In the ring, this man was a bloody mess, but he was still getting some of the loudest reactions in the business. And then he went to Raw, and it all changed. Don't get me wrong, the live performance of Bad Man and The Time Is Now on Raw were both hard as hell. But this man ran into some hot acts and he started to get booed. His in-ring deficiencies were on display against a very hot Kurt Angle at the time. He ended Edge's reign after 3 weeks. And you know, a lot of the viewers, they would just come in to boo Cena. They thought that this man was a slap in the face to the wrestling business. While on the other hand, all the kids were buying the merch and the spinners, and they were just loving what they were seeing. It was tough sledding. By no means was it full boos, it was just a division in the crowd. Too much of something just wasn't working. And that's where we got this divide on John Cena's character. He was still calling Lita a one-woman hooker parade, he was making out with Maria, which, dude, you're so lucky. He had a feud with K-Fed, who somehow owns a pinfall victory over Cena. Cena chucked Edge into the Long Island Sound and off a ladder onto some tables. This was prime John Cena. This guy still let out some classic lines, one of which I still use to this day. I remember when Lita said to him, "Screw you." And the guy literally just went, "I don't have $10. And there was another one too. The time where he told Lita that he was glad that something of substance was coming out of her mouth. Stop, Cena, she's already dead. And then, slowly, it just got more and more unauthentic and watered down. But this was his own doing. He went to Vince and told him that he needed to stop rapping. The times were changing and that adult-oriented style wouldn't work because he saw more kids and families coming to WWE events. So he went from this cool guy that everyone would resonate with to this walking PG poster. The Thuganomics and Chaingang character was wild, man. He was... Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Who is cutting wood? I guess that's what happens when you say chain so many times, is an actual chain starts up near your house. But yo, Chaingang and Thuganomics Cena was just wild. He was crazy for doing what he was doing and saying what he was saying. The only thing I wish would have happened was if Cena had a stable of rappers. I mean, B Squared was alright, but just not enough. I think the character would have worked perfectly in the Attitude Era. Don't kill me for saying that, but just imagine Cena and Rock going back and forth in 99, or Cena rapping to Austin and Austin having no fucking clue what's going on, and all you hear is just, what? 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 What made this version of John Cena so special was he was authentic. It wasn't forced on us, and that's what wins people over. Just like how he used to say, be true to you. Nothing like this could happen again. It was a product of the time. It was just wild, and Cena was honestly at his best. You can't find many people who can go from being racist to pivoting that same character and becoming the focal point of an era based on parental supervision. Thuganomics and Chaingang Cena was just special. So there's only one way I can end this video.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?